There's a pretty one, Ulysses. There it is.
Hello, BookTube. I'm Sean the Book Maniac, and I think you know what this is. It's Friday Reads. Here we go. I don't have much to say, so I'm going to pad this because I got so many complaints about last Friday Reads only being 8 minutes, although I'm not sure I can stretch it much beyond that this week because I have so little in terms of finished and started. No bails. But I will give you an update on where I am with each and every book in progress as well. Will that make you feel better? I finished 2 and they were both disappointing. This did not finish well. Business as Usual, the 1933 novel by Jane Oliver and Anne Stafford. It started out really good about this Scottish woman who goes to London for a few months to make money and kind of experience independence before she gets married to her fiancé back in Scotland. And it's an epistolary novel with all kinds of interdepartmental memos, and she starts out at this department store, mostly working in the bookstore, and she's a bookish person. There's some hilarious shenanigans that happen at work. She does not demonstrate a lot of aptitude for her job at first, and it's very comedically told. And then she gets competent and rises up in the organization, and I lost interest because it just wasn't that funny and there was nothing else. Then it just became a rather humdrum tale about... There was an aspect in her personal life that was rather feminist, and I liked it, but it didn't go off in an interesting direction. And there was a minor plot line that I was hoping was going to cause an explosion of feminism at the end of the novel, but I was asking for too much for a 1933 novel because one of her co-workers, I don't think you should read this novel, but this is a bit of a spoiler, gets pregnant out of wedlock, and she approaches her fiance who's a doctor for help, and it's kind of thinly veiled references to abortion, I think. But that didn't go anywhere, and then the rest was just kind of boring. So, didn't end so well. Don't really recommend it, but some readers out there might like it better than I did. I think I gave it 3 stars. And this is the worst anthology of short fiction I have read in years. The Future of Silence, fiction by Korean women, translated and edited by incredibly capable, competent translators. I have no problem with the translation. Bruce and Ju-Chan Fulton, the husband and wife duo out of the UBC in Vancouver. But these stories were bad. I have to say that the only Korean fiction I have loved is one that these people translated. It was a collection of short stories by Hwang Soon-won that the Fultons translated, which I loved. It's not easily, you can't find a copy very easily. I happened to by a fluke to get a used copy years ago. Put a link to my review. And for Women in Translation Month this year, Grace Eichmeyer and I did a Zoom chat, which nobody watched, but that's fine, about Winter in Sokcho, a novella by Elisa Shua Dusapin that was just okay. And everything else I've read from Korean fiction, and I'm not dumping on Korean literature. I'm obviously not finding the right literature to read, or I don't connect with something in the culture or the literature, because I've found most of it is just terrible that I've read. So I'm... And the first story was really good. And everything else I would have given 1 star to, so I gave it 1 star overall. The story that I loved was Wayfarer by Oh Chong-hui. And there are some big names in here. Apparently they're really good writers like Kim I-ran, Kim Sagwa. Just unreadably awful. I actually couldn't finish the last 3. I was a terrible buddy reader in my buddy read with Britta Bowler. She actually finished them, but I think she gave it 2 stars. I gave it 1. It was awful. Nice cover though. And yes, I have read The Vegetarian. No, I couldn't finish it. It's one of the worst books I ever bailed on. Oh my god. I will try her book about set in mid-20th century Korea. That one sounds good. And she's written a book apparently about a color. Korean fiction, boys and girls. So far, not a fan. So that's what I finished, and that was a little bit ranty. And I have started one, and I'm having an interesting journey with The Quarry Wood by Nan Shepherd, a 1928 novel out of Scotland. I believe it's 1928. It is. I'm enjoying it. I'm loving the writing, and to be honest, I am really struggling with the Scottish dialect, which is what all of the dialogue in the novel is rendered, and I am lost. There is a 2-page, 3-page glossary at the back, but it only glosses a fraction of the Scots English words that I don't know what they mean, and some of I can sound out phonetically. I like a challenge, but this was my bicycle book, and I took it off the bicycle. I'm reading it much more slowly, a couple pages a day, and spending the time to look the words up. I considered bailing, and I thought, Sean, don't be so rigid. Just because it's not a good book for the bicycle doesn't mean you're not, because I was enjoying it. I love the characterization. It's about a young Scottish woman, and her parents are colorfully inept, incompetent people, lovely to read about, and the neighbors are worse, and it's all told in such lovely, colorful detail. And she wants to make something of herself. She wants to go to university, but she's having trouble studying Latin at the kitchen table when all the people in her family and the neighbors that are visiting are causing such a hullabaloo and driving her, making it almost impossible for her to study. And the only way she has money, she can save enough money to buy candles to study late into the night, is if she takes her bicycle to school rather than use the money she has been given to take the bus or the train or something. Dirt poor. I'm really enjoying it, but I'm really struggling with the dialogue. I want to kidnap Nicola and have her buddy read it with me page by page, be at my beck and call every time I have a question. But no, Google can do the same thing for me. I just have to slow down. This is a book that I'm going to savor and hopefully finish by the end of 2020. Loving it. So that's what I've started. So, I mean, I could stop now, but I will just give you a sense of where I'm at with everything else that I'm reading. So I have about 9 days. How many days of reading do I have left? I have 8 days left this month, and I would like to finish most of what I have currently ongoing, which is why I did consider skipping this Friday read so I could use the several hours it's going to take me to edit this video and get it out to you to read. But no, I love doing Friday reads. I've only ever missed maybe one. So let me show you what I'm definitely going to finish first. This buddy read with Joe Smith of Abney Doshi's Booker Prize shortlisted novel Burnt Sugar will finish up next Tuesday. So we've just got the final quarter of the book or something to read and discuss. I'm loving it. I'm predicting 5-star read. Absolutely love it. What an enigmatic tale, and what hypnotic and bizarre prose. There's just something about the way this writer tells her story that I just am mesmerized. So that's going good. Also, Ollie Bliss and I will finish our buddy read of Swimming in the Dark by Tomasz Jadrowski next week, and loving it too. Maybe a little less enthusiastically, but still loving it. No, it's really good. We'll see how it ends, but I'm really, really enjoying it. Finish that up next week. And next, here's what it will be really easy for me to finish by next Friday. I have one more day after that, but it will be really easy. So I'm expecting to check in and give you final thoughts on these books. The audiobook of Love After Love by Ingrid Persaud. I'm almost 3/4 of the way through it and expect that I will finish it up by next Friday. Really enjoying it. It's really good. It's a debut. I think it's a debut. I often say books are debuts when they're not, and vice versa. I make a lot of mistakes. I need a fact checker. What's that guy from CNN with the glasses and talks a mile a minute? I think I need him to do a rebuttal to my Friday read some weeks, hey? He's got his hands full. Did you watch the debate? Oh my God. Anyway, it's a really, really assured debut, as they say. I am halfway through this gay erotic novel from the 1880s, Sins of the Cities of the Plain by Jack Saul, and I'm having a good time with it. I will definitely finish it by next week. I am nearly halfway through Helbeck of Bannisdale by Mrs. Humphrey Ward, otherwise known, it's really sexist to use that name. She is more properly Mary Augusta Ward, and I'm surprised at how much I'm enjoying it. I'm not loving it, but I really like it. It's engrossing. It's surprisingly good. I'm going to have a lot to say about it, and I think I can finish the last half and a bit in the next 7 days. And because I have a really ambitious nonfiction November in Digithon TBR, I'll put a link to that TBR in the show notes, I would like to finish almost everything that I've currently got ongoing. So here are the books that I would like to finish, as many of these as is humanly possible, and I would like to push myself to finish them, not sacrificing the quality of my reading, but I would like to pretty much be done with Victober and maybe one or two others. So I don't think it's probably, it might be humanly possible, but it's not Sean the Book maniacally possible for me to finish all these. But I think this one, quite possibly, and I have the extra day. I may not have these finished by the time you see me next Friday, but by the end of October. Lytton Strachey's biography of Queen Victoria, absolutely loving it. It's a work of literature and a biography that was written decades and decades before all the other biographies that I have read were written, and I think better than most of them. Really excellent. I have been reading this at a glacial pace for about 6 months. This Welsh novel, Emer Humphreys' The Best of Friends. It was recommended to me by Charlotte of Tired Mama Tries to Read. It's shaping up to be one of my top reads of the year. I absolutely love it. It is the kind of book that I can put down for a week and it lives inside of me, so that when I pick it up, I just carry on, even if it's only if 10 days have gone by. I think it is a stunning work of literature, and I love the way Emer Humphreys, who's 101 and still with us. This was written several decades ago, the 1970s maybe. When was it written? It's actually the second volume of a series. And Charlotte said, don't bother with the first one, go directly to this. So I have 1978 novel. He just creates such vivid characters that I love. It's a Sean book through and through, and I don't know if I want to push myself to finish it because the slow pace has worked so well for it, but I might because it's so good. Felix Holt, The Radical by George Eliot is excellent. I'm now not quite a fifth of the way through. I think this is the one that would be a really a miracle if I could finish this by the end of October. She is a dense writer, and you need to puzzle over her sentences in a way that most of the time I love the extra time it takes to absorb George Eliot's prose. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish it by the end of the month, but could happen. It's so good. It's so good. I am also really loving Vanity Fair by Thackeray. It's just, can I say it again? It's so good. It's excellent. It's one of the best Victorian novels I've ever read. Why aren't we talking about Thackeray? What's all this hooey about Dickens? Thackeray is the man, people. If you have to read male writers of the 19th century, let's get all the Dickens, put them in the back room and the shelf farthest to reach in our Victorian collections, and let's give Thackeray his due. It's excellent. It's possible. It's so delightful. It's a long book. I think my ebook is 1,000 pages. What is a typical, for example, Penguin softcover, and this would include probably notes and stuff, is almost 900 pages, so maybe 750 or 800 pages without the notes. So I've got my work cut out for me, but I'm 15% of the way through. And now that I've taken the Scottish novel off the bicycle, I am trying to dip into it at least once, if not twice a day on the bicycle. And that's working out well. The only other one on my Victober TBR that I'm currently reading, it actually might be a Bale. I did a search yesterday. Nobody on BookTube has ever talked about this book. It has a fairly high rating. It's Red Pottage by Mary Chumley, written in about 1898. I am a quarter of the way through it, so I could finish it, but I'm getting bored now. It started out with a really interesting premise, if you remember. A husband challenged his friend who was sleeping with the man's wife, and the man who was having an affair with the man's wife didn't realize that his friend, his lover's husband, knew about it until this moment. And he didn't challenge him to a duel, but to drawing straws. And I can now confirm something I wasn't clear about when I mentioned this at the beginning of the month. Drawing straws, and whoever got it, I forget if it was the shorter straw or the longer straw, had to commit suicide within a few months. And that was the opening premise, and it just grabbed me by the throat. But we haven't seen very much of those characters. We're dealing with somebody named Hester, who is a writer and kind of a prickly character who is also poor, and now she's staying with her brother in the countryside, and it's kind of boring, and it's going on and on. I may bail on that, but I also it would be quite possible for me to finish it, because it's not 800 pages. I think it might be. Again, I'm doing it on ebook. The Virago paperback edition was 400 pages. And that's it for Victober. So, ambitious, but I would love to start November. Maybe I'll have to give up a day or two of November to get there and then start my nonfiction November TBR. That's fine. But here are the books that I have no intention of finishing this month and will probably take certainly the month of November, but quite possibly right up till the end of this year to finish. Annie Proulx's short story collection, fine just the way it was. I read the first story. It was really good. I wouldn't say it blew me away, but I liked it. The final volume of Cora Sandel's Alberta trilogy, Alberta Alone. I'm absolutely loving it. I read a chapter, not even a chapter. I read 10 pages once a week or once every 10 days. I absolutely love it. I don't want it to end, so I'm not going to let it end until the very end of the year. And then I'm going to have a big cry that it's all over. Similarly, Trieste by Dasha Drndic, translated from the Croatian by Ellen Elias Bursak. I absolutely love. It's dark, it's historical, it's compelling. It is the kind of book that I can pick up and put down. I don't want it to end, and yeah, I may not even finish it this year, but no earlier than that. It's a stunning work of literature, unlike any other book I've read. Oh, the other one is the ebook that I was doing that was, for a while, it was my sole focus for the bicycle exercising, the hour a day I'm spending on the exercise bike, Sadila by Adam Mars Jones. Now it's getting crowded out. It's a book that I might finish this year, but maybe not. I'm loving it, reading just a little bit a day, if that. And that is what I have on my plate. So yes, I would like to devote November to my nonfiction Indigathon TBR. I would also like to finish off that TBR in an uncharacteristically tidy way so that I can have November. I have 2 buddy reads scheduled, and that's it. I like to have the last month of the reading year basically free, not to do, what is that horrible daily thing that ruins BookTube for the month of December? What is it called? Rudolphathon or something? I did it once, but it's like, I am not criticizing anybody who does it. I just think it ruins BookTube because what's the point in putting out content for the sake of putting out content when nobody, certainly BookTubers, don't have time to watch it because they're busy making their own, what is it called, that Christmasathon thingy. So you won't be seeing much of my stuff. I'm just going to be reading. Maybe do a Friday reads and that's it, because there's all that other stuff. I think I might have to delete that rant. Might lose a few friends. Adam, get out of my head! Santa-athon, vlogathon, Christmas vlogathon, whatever the hell it is. Anyway, I want to just read whatever I want to read, not have buddy reads, I've got a couple, and that's fine, but I just really want to read freely in December. So, I have to be uncharacteristically disciplined about finishing things up between now and December 1st so that I can enjoy that month. And that is what I have to say. If you have anything to say about what I had to say, there's a place down there where you can say what you want to say. Thanks for watching.